What's up, world? Somewhere S. This just came through the wire. I got a LA Times subscription, so I get the notifications. I got the app. Uh, Governor Gavin Newsom names 6 goals that must be met to lift California coronavirus order. This was at 12:14 p.m. It's 1:56 right now, April 14, by Taryn Luna out of Sacramento. Governor Gavin Newsom says California needs to increase testing, protect high risk residents from infection, and expand hospital capacity before the state can begin to modify the unprecedented stay at home order he imposed 1 month ago and gradually return to a sense of normalcy. I want you to know it will not be a permanent state, Newsom said of the restrictions put in place to fight the spread of the coronavirus. We recognize the consequences of the stay at home orders have have a profound impact on the economy, your personal household budget, your personal prospects around your future. The governor broadly described the steps his administration expected to take in the weeks and months ahead to protect the public and gauge how long the orders should remain in place, underscoring a transition in the fight against the virus in recent days as California and other states map out plans to ease restrictions. The new parameters Newsom outlined Tuesday suggested the state must meet a high bar before walking back the order. The administration highlighted 6 key indicators for altering his stay home mandate, including the ability monitor to closely monitor and track potential cases, prevent infection of high risk people, prepare hospitals to handle surges, develop therapeutics to meet demand, ensure schools, businesses, and childcare facilities can support social distancing, and develop guidelines for when to ask Californians to stay home again if necessary. The Democratic governor and officials in his administration say their strategy to slow the spread of the virus is working, pointing to relatively low growth in COVID 19 hospitalizations as evidence that staying home and social distancing are preventing a surge of infections. But that success comes with a cost. More than 2.3 million Californians filed for unemployment benefits in the last month as businesses closed their doors due to state mandates and the economy continues to unravel. Some students, some students lost access to free and reduced cost meals when schools shuttered, and many have now participated in virtual learning. The governor's strategy of distancing residents can also lead to social isolation and increase health risks for the elderly and vulnerable populations, including stress induced heart attacks, suicide, drug and alcohol abuse, and lack of access to care for other unrelated illnesses. Despite his attempts to quell a sense of uncertainty, Newsom had not yet provided a timeline before Tuesday for when the state's nearly 40 million Californians can expect to return to work or move about freely. And to those struggling to make ends meet, that's the question they want answered most. When are the restrictions going to be lifted? Asked Miguel Tot, who was laid off from his job as a manager of a downtown LA restaurant on March 16th. There's no timetable on that, so I have no idea, when normality is going to come back. Well, guess what, Miguel Tot? It's not. This is the new normal. The 34-year-old said he and his wife have enough money saved to buy groceries, pay rent and bills, and provide for their 2 young children for about 2 months, despite having no health insurance. Todd said he began looking for a new job late last month in anticipation of that safety net running out and with no sense of when the order will end. The governor has predicted a peak in COVID 19 cases to begin in May. I thought it was this week. These guys are jokers. The governor has predicted a peak in COVID 19 cases to begin in May and said last week the hospitalizations continue to fall below expectations. As chief executive, Newsom has the power to call off the statewide order, but individual counties can keep their own orders in place. Newsom announced a pact on Monday to work with his counterparts in Oregon and Washington to develop a regional strategy to reduce restrictions on residents in the coming months. The most important things for leaders to be honest and be honest about what we don't know, said Daniel Zingale, a former aide to Newsom who retired earlier this year. If it comes to a point where we do know more, then tell them. Lisa Berkman, a professor of public policy and epidemiology at Harvard University, T.H. Chan School of Public Health, agrees that offering false hope won't help struggling Californians or anyone else. It is not helpful to give an end date if we don't know an end date, Berkman said. I don't think that any governor should be saying that. Sorry, it's not helpful to give an end date if we don't know an end date, Berkman said. I don't think that any governor should be saying that we're going to end this in 3 to 4 or 5 weeks when it's completely unknown. You don't want to end this until you don't want to end this until you see a leveling out of the curve. You don't want to end it early and have an uprising in cases. Of course, you'd say that. Lisa Berkman, you're an epidemiologist out of Harvard. Berkman's work is focused on the health effects of public and workplace policies. People who are socially isolated have a higher risk of mortality, including dying of cardiovascular disease, infectious disease, and a number of other cases, she said. She said orders across the country have exposed socioeconomic inequality in disadvantaged communities, and she stressed the importance of reducing isolation by expanding internet access, introducing government programs to help at-risk residents, and calling and checking on elders. Newsom said earlier this month that Google would donate 100,000 mobile hotspots to provide free and unlimited high-speed internet for the remainder of the school year, but it's unclear which communities will receive that benefit. Berkman and other academic experts support Newsom's call for the state to expand its testing beyond sick patients to attempt to ascertain the percentage of the population that is infected, or to determine how many people previously contracted the disease and have immunity. This is a key thing right here. This paragraph, I'm going to repeat it just so it could sink in. Berkman and other academic experts support Newsom's call for the state to expand its testing beyond sick patients to attempt to ascertain the percentage of the population that is infected, or to determine how many people previously contracted the disease and have immunity. So they're going to expand the testing beyond sick people. They're going to test people who are healthy for it. As well. It's going to be the thing that they do now when you go get a checkup at the doctor's. Newsom has said antibody blood tests are critical in terms of our capacity to make a determination about community spread and about immunity. Deanna Dooley, a chief of staff to former Governor Jerry Brown, said the lack of access to tests has prevented California and other states from accurately determining how long to keep the order in place. The whole issue of how much it's out there will drive the fundamental question of when it could end, she said. The governor has said testing broader samples of the public throughout the state and not just people exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms will help officials determine when to lift the restrictions. Again, another key paragraph here. The governor has said testing broader samples of the public throughout the state and not just people exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms will help officials determine when to lift the restrictions. They're just going to come around knocking on people's door. You ready to take your COVID-19 test so you can come outside? For now, that kind of testing is occurring only at the local level or at universities. Los Angeles County, for example, began testing the blood of 1,000 randomly selected residents last week to see whether they have or previously had COVID-19. Duly called statewide random blood sample tests a bit of an academic wish, given that California still doesn't have enough tests for sick patients. Mark Galley, a secretary of the state's Health and Human Services Agency, said last week that the state is prioritizing traditional diagnostic tests for patients suspected of having COVID-19 and expanding access to those tests to hospital workers, low-income Californians, and communities of color. A Newsom administration official said the state expects to begin statewide antibody tests in the next few weeks, an undertaking supported by the scientific community. Right now, it takes away from testing people who could be potentially ill, and that's a horrible decision to make. But in the long run, as a public health scientist, I would say we learn a lot from surveillance, Berkman said. It's one of the bedrocks that we have. It's how we first identify early cases. It's how we learn how people survive or not, who is vulnerable or more resistant. Without some kind of random sample, we can't learn any of that. Dooley expects the state to allow businesses that are predisposed to social distancing, such as hair salons or certain retail stores, to reopen first before gradually expanding to other types of facilities. There you go, ladies. They're going to open up the hair salon. Go get your nails did, too. Others suggest restrictions on large gatherings, staggered work shifts, more telecommuting, half empty restaurants, and perhaps the end of the handshake will become part of what Newsom has described as a new normal in the next several months. With access to basic necessities such as water, heat, and food, Bergman remains hopeful that Americans can endure stay at home orders for as long as it takes. The "we're all in this together" message repeated by Newsom and other leaders across the country also helps people cope with the new conditions and feel a sense of connection with others across the world, she said. As Americans, we have rarely been called upon to do something for the public good, Berkman said. It's not just to protect our own risk, it's to help protect everybody. It's a rare collective action. And if people understand they are forsaking their comforts and joys and the way they normally behave to really curb something that is for the good of the country and the world, there's a lot of joy in that. Well, guess what, Berkman? No, people need sunshine because it's freaking depressing to be inside all freaking day. Taryn Luna covers Gavin Newsom in California politics in Sacramento for the LA Times. Thank you, Taryn Luna, for this report. He's like, that's how much room we got for taxing. That hey, this is a family friendly show. Let me know what you think of Governor Gavin Newsom's 6 goals. Don't let me find out Oregon's got 6 and then Washington's got 6 too, because then that would be 3 6s. You freaking little. I'm on it. I'm just messing with you, everybody. But that's what they're saying. They're gonna test. They're just gonna test. That's what I picked up out of this. What I highlighted. But let me know what you think. Definitely want to hear what your input is on this if you're on the West Coast. Thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in, and see you on the next one.